Most people lose not because they don't have the ability, but because they lose their focus before the finish line. Listen, champions are not made in comfort. They're made in commitment. If you want to win, the first person you must learn to conquer is you. And until you conquer yourself, until you discipline yourself, until you commit to yourself, you will never touch the life God already prepared for you. Most people spend their entire lives trying to conquer the world outside of them, but they forget the most important battle, the one inside. You can't lead anyone else until you can lead yourself. You can't conquer new territories if you can't conquer your own thoughts. And that's why the most powerful truth I can tell you today is this: the greatest victory you will ever experience will not be over circumstances, over enemies, or over competitors. It will be over the version of you that keeps trying to hold you back. Think about it. What keeps you from reaching your full potential? It's not a lack of opportunities. It's not your past. It's not the people who doubted you. The thing that stops you is often the voice inside your head that says, you can't do it. You're not ready. You're not enough. That voice has stolen more dreams than failure ever has. And here's the truth. You cannot silence that voice by running away from it. You silence it by proving it wrong through consistent action, through discipline, through persistence. Let me ask you a question. How many times have you started something with passion, with energy, with excitement, only to give up halfway because it got too hard? That's not life defeating you. That's you defeating you. That's the part of you that loves comfort more than growth. Winning the battle against the part of you that craves success. If you're going to win in life, you have to decide once and for all that you will no longer negotiate with your excuses. You will no longer bow down to fear. You will no longer let comfort control your destiny. I need you to hear me. Discipline is the ultimate act of self-love. People think discipline is punishment, but it's not. Discipline is proof that you care enough about your future to stop sabotaging your present. Discipline says, I am willing to sacrifice what feels good now for what will feel great later. Discipline says, I refuse to let the old version of me dictate the life the new version of me deserves. Here's another truth. You cannot conquer yourself in one day. It's a daily decision. Every morning when you wake up, you are presented with a battle. Will you serve your doubts? Or will you serve your destiny? Will you let fear paralyze you? Or will you let faith move you? Will you allow yesterday's failures to define today? Or will you decide that today is another opportunity to prove to yourself that you are stronger than you think? You don't need more talent. You don't need more luck. You don't need more approval from others. What you need is mastery over yourself. Because if you can master your thoughts, your habits, your focus, then success becomes inevitable. The money, the influence, the opportunities, they're not the prize. The real prize is becoming the kind of person who can handle them without losing yourself. Imagine for a moment, what would your life look like if you stopped losing to yourself? What would happen if you stopped quitting when it got uncomfortable? What would change if every time fear showed up, you showed up bigger? Your relationships would change. Your career would change. Your health would change. But most importantly, you would change. And when you change, everything around you shifts. So I'll leave you with this thought. The world doesn't need a version of you that's distracted, defeated, and discouraged. The world needs the version of you that's focused, disciplined, and unstoppable. And that version of you is waiting on one decision to conquer yourself first. Because if you win that battle, no other battle can defeat you. Everybody wants the harvest, but very few people want to plant the seed. Everybody wants the reward, but very few are willing to go through the routine. See, the law of life is simple. You cannot reap what you did not sow. Yet so many people look at successful men and women and think they got lucky, when the truth is they just planted their seeds long before the crowd was watching. Let me remind you of this. The seed always comes before the harvest. And if you want the harvest, you'd better fall in love with the process of sowing. Think about a farmer. When a farmer plants a seed in the ground, he doesn't wake up the next day expecting a full-grown tree. He doesn't go outside after one night of waiting and start digging up the soil because he doesn't see results immediately. No, he trusts the process. He knows the laws of nature are unbreakable. He knows if he sows consistently, waters faithfully, and protects the soil diligently, the harvest will show up in its season. The same is true for your dreams. The problem is, most people want a tree without planting and fruit without waiting. How many times have you started something but abandoned it too soon because you didn't see instant results? That's like a farmer digging up the seed before it has time to grow. Your vision is not failing. It just hasn't had time to mature. Success does not come in microwave moments. It comes in slow, cooked seasons. And if you give up in the sowing stage, you will never experience the joy of the harvest stage. Let me ask you this. What kind of seeds are you planting every day? Seeds of discipline or seeds of distraction? Seeds of faith or seeds of fear? Because you can only harvest what you sow. If you plant laziness, don't expect abundance. If you plant excuses, don't expect opportunities. But if you plant discipline, if you plant consistency, if you plant excellence, then when the season comes, your harvest will overwhelm you. Here's the challenge. Planting seeds doesn't feel exciting. It feels small. It feels unnoticed. It feels like nobody cares. But that's the secret. Your seed is growing even when nobody sees it. Your late nights, your early mornings, your sacrifices, your discipline, they are underground, building roots. And one day, the world will see the fruit, but they will never know the grind. That's why you must never despise small beginnings, because small beginnings are where great harvests are born. You see, the reason so many people never step into greatness is because they fall in love with the outcome but not with the process. They want the applause without the effort. They want the testimony without the test. But the real winners understand this: my job is to sow, my job is to water, and my job is to protect the soil. The timing of the harvest is not in my control, but the consistency of my sowing always is. Now hear this: your season will come. It may not come when you expect it. It may not come how you planned it. But if you stay faithful to the process, it will come. So don't judge your future by the emptiness of your present field. Don't assume that just because you don't see the tree, the seed isn't working. Something powerful is happening beneath the surface. And if you remain consistent, one day that seed will break through the soil and everybody will see what you believed in all along. So the question is not, will the harvest come? The question is, will you still be sowing when it does? Because if you stop planting, if you stop watering, if you stop believing, you forfeit the very harvest that was meant for you. And I came to tell you today, don't stop sowing. Your seed is working. Your harvest is on the way. Distraction is the silent killer of destiny. It doesn't come with a loud announcement. It doesn't knock on your door and say, I'm here to destroy your future. No, it sneaks in quietly, one notification at a time, one wasted hour at a time, one excuse at a time, until you look back and realize a year has passed and nothing has changed. The truth is, most people don't fail because they lack ability. They fail because they traded discipline for distraction. Let me ask you something. How much further along would you be right now if you had stayed focused on your vision instead of scrolling through someone else's? How much more could you have accomplished if you gave your dream the same attention you give your phone? The reality is sobering, but it's also empowering because it means the power is already in your hands. Distraction is a choice. And if distraction is a choice, then discipline is a choice too. Discipline is the bridge between who you are and who you want to be. It's the price of admission for greatness. And the reason most people never cross that bridge is because they let distraction detour them. They start strong. They commit to change. They say, this is my year. But then the first wave of comfort, the first pull of laziness, the first opinion of someone else distracts them off course. What they don't realize is that every time they say yes to distraction, they're saying no to destiny. The enemy of your dream isn't always failure, it's divided attention. You can't build something great while constantly being pulled in 100 directions. You can't run toward purpose if you keep stopping to chase every distraction along the way. That's why discipline matters. Discipline says, no matter how loud the noise, no matter how strong the temptation, I will not abandon the commitment I made to myself. People think discipline makes life smaller, but it doesn't. Discipline doesn't shrink your life, it expands it. Distraction robs you of your future. Discipline multiplies your future. When you're disciplined, you gain clarity, momentum, and results. And here's the hook. Results create confidence. Confidence creates consistency, and consistency creates unstoppable momentum. That's the cycle that winners live in, and it all starts with the choice to protect your focus. Let me remind you of this every time you pick distraction over discipline. You are making a trade. You're trading what you want most for what feels good in the moment. You're trading the long-term vision for short-term comfort. And the painful truth is this: those small trades accumulate. That's why so many people wake up 5 years later frustrated, wondering why their life looks the same. But if you flip the script and choose discipline daily, those small wins accumulate too. And 5 years later, you'll look back and be amazed at how far you've come. Discipline is not about being perfect. Discipline is about being consistent. You will stumble, you will mess up, but the difference between winners and losers is that losers use failure as a reason to stop, while winners use failure as a reason to refocus. Every time you get distracted, you have a choice to stay down or get back on track. And the more you train yourself to come back to discipline, the stronger you become. So I want you to think about this. What is distraction costing you right now? Is it costing you opportunities? Is it costing you health? Is it costing you financial freedom? Because make no mistake, distraction always comes with a bill, and the price is your destiny. But the good news is you can refuse to pay that bill. You can make a new choice. You can decide that from this moment forward, nothing matters more than your focus, your growth, and your commitment to the vision inside of you. Most people quit too soon. They quit right at the edge of their breakthrough. They quit when it gets uncomfortable, when it gets painful, when it feels like nothing is working. But let me remind you, pain is not the signal to stop. It's the signal that growth is happening. Winners understand that discomfort is not the enemy. It's the evidence that you're being stretched into the version of yourself that can handle the blessing you've been praying for. Think about this. When an athlete trains, the moment the muscle starts to burn is the moment the real growth begins. The pain is not punishment. It's proof of progress. The same principle applies to life. Every struggle you face, every challenge you endure, every obstacle that tests you is building a strength inside you that comfort never could. The difference between champions and everyone else is simple champions push through the pain while everyone else looks for the exit. Let me ask you a question. How many dreams have died because someone quit too early? How many businesses never grew because the owner gave up when it got hard? How many relationships could have been restored if both sides pushed through the difficult season instead of walking away? The graveyard is full of dreams that were buried alive because someone confused temporary pain with permanent failure. Pain is a test. It asks you one question: how badly do you want it? Anyone can keep going when it feels good. Anyone can stay committed when it's convenient. But true character, a character is revealed when you keep showing up, even when it hurts, even when it's lonely, even when no one is clapping for you. That's the moment where winners are made. Here's the truth. Your future is on the other side of your pain. The thing you've been asking God for, the thing you've been working toward, the thing you've been believing in. It's often just one more push away. And yet most people stop at the push. They get tired, they get frustrated, they say, it's too much. What they don't realize is that every step of pressure is breaking something off them, building something in them, preparing them for the very thing they're asking for. You see, quitting doesn't make the pain go away. Quitting only makes the pain permanent. If you give up on your dream, the regret will outlast the discomfort. If you give up on your discipline, the disappointment will last far longer than the struggle would have. But if you hold on, if you push through, if you refuse to quit when it hurts, the reward will outweigh the pain 1,000 times over. Every champion you admire has scars. Every success story you celebrate has a chapter of struggle. The difference is they didn't let the pain stop them. They used the pain as fuel. They said, if I can survive this, I can succeed at anything. And that's the mindset you need to adopt today. Stop asking for a painless life. Start asking for the strength to endure, the focus to continue, and the resilience to rise every time you fall. So the next time it hurts, the next time you feel like quitting, remind yourself why you started. Remind yourself what's on the line. Remind yourself that the pain you feel today is the strength you'll walk in tomorrow. Because winners don't quit when it hurts. Winners use the hurt to prove that nothing, absolutely nothing, will stop them from reaching the finish line. Growth is not a one-time decision, it is a daily choice. You don't grow because you had one moment of inspiration. You grow because you made a commitment to keep showing up every single day, even when you don't feel like it. Too many people wait for the perfect time to change, the perfect opportunity to improve, the perfect moment to start. But let me remind you, the perfect time will never come. Growth begins the moment you decide that today matters, and every day after that matters too. Think about it. Life doesn't reward people who show up once in a while. It rewards people who show up consistently. If you go to the gym one time, you won't see change. If you study for one day, you won't master the subject. If you invest in your dream only when you feel motivated, you'll never build momentum. Growth happens when you choose to repeat the right actions over and over again long enough for the compound effect to take place. The magic is not in what you do occasionally, it's in what you do daily. Let me ask you a question. Are your daily choices leading you closer to your destiny, or are they keeping you stuck in your comfort zone? Because every decision you make is either a deposit into your future or a withdrawal from it. Every day you choose discipline, you add strength. Every day you choose learning, you add wisdom. Every day you choose faith over fear, you add courage. And over time, those small choices stack up into something powerful. The problem is, many people underestimate the small choices because they don't see immediate results. And so they go back to old habits. But here's the hook. Your future self is depending on what you choose today. The person you will be 5 years from now is being built by what you do in the next 24 hours. That's why growth can't be a once in a while event. It must become part of your identity. You don't just practice discipline. You become a disciplined person. You don't just learn new skills. You become a lifelong learner. You don't just make temporary changes. You transform into someone who is constantly evolving into their best self. The truth is, growth is not comfortable. Growth requires you to stretch beyond what feels easy. Growth demands that you confront your weaknesses instead of hiding from them. Growth calls you to stop blaming circumstances and start taking responsibility. And that's why so many people avoid it. They would rather stay the same than endure the temporary discomfort of change. But here's what they miss. The pain of growth is temporary, but the pain of regret is permanent. You can either deal with the discipline today, or you will deal with the disappointment tomorrow. Every successful person you admire didn't get there by chance. They got there because they made a daily decision to grow. They read when others scrolled. They practiced when others slept. They prepared when others procrastinated. And because they chose growth, they created opportunities that others will never see. That same principle applies to you. If you choose growth daily, the doors will open, the wisdom will come, the strength will multiply, and the results will compound. So I want you to picture this. Who would you become if for the next year you decided every single day to grow by just 1%? 1% more discipline, 1% more courage, 1% more focus. At the end of the year, you wouldn't just be slightly better, you would be unrecognizable compared to the person you are today. That's the power of daily growth. It transforms ordinary people into extraordinary leaders, and it turns impossible dreams into inevitable realities. When you win, it is never just about you. Your victory is connected to someone else's freedom. Your breakthrough is connected to someone else's belief. Your success is not just personal, it's generational. That's why quitting is so dangerous. It doesn't only rob you of your destiny, it robs the people assigned to your influence of the example they needed. Every time you decide to keep going, every time you refuse to quit, every time you choose to win, you're sending a message to someone watching. If I can do it, so can you. Think about this. There are people right now who are waiting on your story. They're waiting to hear how you made it through. They're waiting to see what consistency looks like. They're waiting to witness what faith can produce. You may not even know their names, but they're watching you. Your children are watching. Your family is watching. Your community is watching. And whether you realize it or not, your choices are shaping their belief about what's possible. When you win, it proves to them that the struggle is worth it. How many times have you been encouraged by someone else's victory? How many times have you looked at a person who overcame impossible odds and said, if they can rise, maybe I can too? That's the ripple effect of winning. Your win becomes someone else's hope. Your discipline becomes someone else's inspiration. Your story becomes someone else's survival guide. And that's why giving up is not just personal failure. It's a broken chain reaction that could have sparked a generation. The truth is, winning is not selfish, it's service. Because when you win, you create opportunities, you open doors, you expand possibilities for others. When you build wealth, you can provide jobs. When you step into leadership, you can mentor others. When you transform your health, you inspire others to take care of theirs. And when you keep the faith in dark seasons, you show others what resilience really looks like. Winning is bigger than you. It's a responsibility to everyone who will be impacted by your courage. But here's the catch. People don't just believe what you say, they believe what you show them. If you preach discipline, but practice excuses, no one follows. If you talk about dreams, but never pursue your own, no one listens. But if you walk it out, if you demonstrate what focus looks like, if you model what consistency feels like, your life becomes a living testimony that transforms the lives of others without you even speaking a word. That's the power of winning. It multiplies beyond your own life. You may not realize it, but your win could be the spark that shifts your entire family line. Maybe nobody before you ever broke free from poverty, but your win could be the breakthrough that creates generational wealth. Maybe nobody before you ever walked in confidence, but your win could set a new standard of belief for your children. Maybe nobody before you ever lived in purpose, but your win could create a new legacy of vision and faith. One person's decision to win can rewrite the story for generations to come. So I want you to ask yourself, who will benefit when I win? Who will rise because I refuse to quit? Who will find courage because I chose discipline over distraction? Who will believe again because I kept pushing through the pain? The truth is, your win is not optional, it's necessary. Because somewhere out there, someone's future is connected to your focus. And when you finally cross the finish line, it won't just be your victory. It will be a victory for everyone who believed, because you showed them it was possible. So I leave you with this. The day you stop being distracted by the noise and start being committed to your own growth, that's the day your winning season begins. Focus on YOU until you win. Because once you win, you don't just change your life, you change the lives of everyone connected to you.